Somebody once said to me when I was talking about how important it was for us to conserve our language, not only is that an example of remarkable stupidity, but we must remember that human needs are not merely material. So this person was talking about, I don't want my child to learn Igbo. Igbo will confuse my child. My child will not get a good job. But human needs are not merely material. We must feed our bodies, of course. We must think about what will give us a good job. But our souls must also be fed. And it is dignity that feeds our souls. So the country of Iceland has about 400,000 people, a very tiny country, but they put so much effort into preserving their language. I've never heard an Icelandic person, the few times I've visited, say something like, Eji Icelandic ejebe. And Ireland, the Irish language, which was in decline under English rule, recently, the Irish government has put a lot of effort into reviving the Irish language. The Irish language is spoken only in Ireland. The Irish language is not really a language that is going to get the Irish people international jobs, but they're preserving it. They're preserving it, and that act of preservation is an act of love. It is an act of value. It's an act of dignity. And so to anyone who says, Ejibwe, not only are you lacking in intelligence, sorry, but this is true, you must also remember that we must feed our souls with dignity. And so while all of these issues, language, names, are significant, we must focus now on the large fire that is burning up Igbo land. Ndi Igbo ka anyị teta n'ụla. Let us wake up. Ife may be gonna an Igbo. As Igbo people, we often speak of political marginalization. Whenever you're gathered among Igbo people, the next thing you hear is marginalization. They're marginalizing us. We should talk about marginalization. I think any honest assessment of Nigerian history since 1970 must acknowledge the political marginalization that Igbo people have suffered. But it is time to suspend the subject of marginalization until we have cleaned house. We are giving those who want to marginalize us even more reasons to justify that marginalization. We must first clean house. Part of that house cleaning must involve a concerted return to unity. We must unite. We must unite. Unity is not the absence of difference. Unity does not mean that we all agree on everything. Unity means a decision to come together for a greater goal despite our differences. Unity is a beautiful act of sheer will. Unity is an act of intelligence. Unity comes from the ability to think lucidly. If all of the governors of the Igbo-speaking states and all of the senators from the Igbo states decided to come together in unity and put away party affiliations, it would confer on Igbo land a great bargaining power for policies that will benefit all of Igbo land. Different ethnic groups in multi-ethnic countries across the world all engage in this kind of political bargaining. But for this to happen for Igbo land, there must be unity. But first I want to return to what I said earlier, Igbo, bu Igbo. The contemporary distinctions we often make today about Igbo identity, they're not cultural identities, they're political identities. There's a difference between a cultural identity and a political identity. When we say somebody is Delta Igbo, it is a political identity. It is not a cultural identity. Igbo-speaking peoples are one nation, one language, with different dialects. All languages have dialects. A dialect is not a language. So let us use Germany as an example. Germanic tribes have existed for centuries in Western Europe, but it was only relatively recently in the 19th century that these Germanic tribes decided to come together with the different dialects of the same language, German, and they united to form what we now know as the modern German state. Political identities are acts of political expediency. They're transient, they're fleeting, and they're hollow at the core. But cultural identities come from shared language, shared traditions, shared ideals. All Igbo peoples are Igbo. Nobody is more Igbo than another. Igbo bu Igbo. And so, on the basis of these shared cultural values, Ndi Igbo must unite and strive to become a beacon for Nigeria and indeed for Africa. It is not too late. It is dire, but it is not too late. Let us stop making excuses for ourselves. Don't say that poverty is the reason that we are sliding into this barbarism. Poverty is not the reason. Igbo land was not rich in the 1900s. We were poor, and yet we did not worship money in this way. We did not slide into barbarism. We did not kill one another. We believed in basic things, in telling the truth, in standing for moral ideas, in not stealing, in earning your money in a way that is transparent. And by the way, the world today is full of cultures and peoples who are poor, and yet they maintain their values, and yet they do not descend into a doomed abyss of evil. For that is indeed the most appropriate word for the disregard for human life that is happening in Igbo land today. Evil. Ndi Igbo, let us wake up. Kaiteta Nola. Let us refuse to participate. Refuse to celebrate money whose source you do not know. Let us celebrate alternative things. Let us celebrate knowledge. Let us celebrate scholarship. Let us celebrate hard work. Let us celebrate community. We must remember that we are a great people. We have to remember that we are people who make remarkable sacrifices to live their dreams wherever they find themselves. We are people who have mastered the art of surviving the most unaccustomed parts of the earth. Let us not forget the wonderful, unique apprenticeship system that we have, Mwa boy. Often we forget the Mwa girl, where young women learn things like sewing from women and the wonderful and unique rituals and expectations that those involve. Ndi Igbo, let us remember who we really are. We cannot become untethered from the harness of our proud and beautiful history and heritage. Igbo must once again mean what it truly means. Not selfishness, but community. Not violence, but a fierce desire to succeed through hard work, diligence, honesty, truth-telling. The very essence of our existence as a people is being eroded, and it is an aggressive, ugly erosion. We are overseeing our own decline. We are we are participating in our own destruction. How can this be? We must reclaim our heritage. Like Umuofia, before the coming of the missionaries, we must insist on the basic threshold of decency. Do we as a people endorse these practices? Do we accept Egombute as a legitimate route to success? Where is the gatekeeping role of the community over every member? Something that has been central in Igbo culture for centuries. Every success needs validation from the cultural milieu that birthed it. We hear success stories, but in most cases we see only the success, but not the story. What is the story behind the successes that we celebrate today? Okonkwo's greatness in Umuofia was not possible without Umuofia's collective say-so. If Igbo people had collectively risen in unison to condemn this resident evil when it first began, would have served as a moral rebuke against the ongoing slide into barbarism. But we did not do that. It is not too late. It is dire, but it is not too late. And it is important to say that the two dominant religions that we have in this region are heavily implicated in this rot. Both the traditional religion and Christianity have a hand in our collapsing values. We have as many cutthroat ndidibia as we have ndipastor, who orchestrate the steady slide into this abyss. It is time to clean house. We should not accept what is happening. If there are those who seek to destroy us, we should not help them. We should not arm ourselves with guns. We should arm ourselves with a return to values. Arm ourselves with knowledge. Arm ourselves with a strong sense of justice, morality, fair play. Those are the true Igbo values. It is not too late. We must wake up now. Ndi Igbo, ka anyị teta n'ụla kita. Let us return Igbo land to the glory that it deserves. Dalonu.
Enuani.